You're listening to Zoom the TBT with Charge and Hayner.
And this is Zoom the TBT of Charge and Hayner. As always, my name's Andrew Hayner. My partner, Charge, is here. And it is Championship Sunday, Survival Sunday. Charge, are you hype?
Oh, yeah. We're an hour away. So this much anticipated matchup, Davis Steele, did what everyone thought they were going to do. La Familia, I think a little bit of a surprise with kind of Bayheims and Aftershocks getting knocked out. But what a matchup at the historic Memorial Coliseum, and La Familia Davis just an hour away.
Yeah, pretty exciting. I mean, it's been a short cycle. TBT has gotten more condensed over the years. It used to be like a 3-week sprawling festival, and it's become sort of like almost a short-term house party, which has made the intensity ramped up and also made the sort of schedule tighter. It's trending toward a sellout too. I don't know if you've been following this, Charge, but like the tickets are going like hotcakes. Like I think Davis Steele might be slightly better, but they're walking into a Lions Den. I think like less than 500 tickets remain, I saw.
Yeah, they should be very close. And a lot of what there's left is just some resale, but not a lot, and especially in the lower bowl. And do you know how many people is a sellout there? I thought I read a number on Twitter that looked like it was way too high, but the Googles are telling me it's like 6,250. Yeah. I don't know what a sellout is there. I don't know if you know.
I want to say we looked this up. I want to say it was closer to 7,000 actually. So I don't remember exactly. That's good. That's a good question. I don't remember the exact size of it.
Yeah, and like I want to say
it's around
crazy. I thought someone on the internet there said like 15K, and I'm like, there's zero chance of that. But I think between 6 and 7, and screaming La Familia fans, it's going to be a whiteout again for this event. So it's going to be wild.
Yeah, I mean, have you been in that stadium yet, Charge? Have you been there?
No. I went to Freedom Hall this year, but never been to that stadium.
So that's it's actually a really good place to watch a game. So if memory serves, and again, my memory is spotty of my advanced age, the very first year La Familia was in, I think they did Rupp, and then the next 2 years they've done the historic stadium, Memorial Stadium. But it's still a great venue. I mean, it's really tight. You're right on top of each other. It's a classic gym. It's around 7, and it's extremely difficult to play, which is interesting because if memory serves, Charge, this game's a rematch, isn't it?
Yeah, so this one's got some history. They played last year, so it was kind of the same cast of characters. Like I said, Davis has a couple new faces that are contributing in a big way, but a lot of the same names with Terry Taylor, Gabe York, Anthony Clemens, and then you had Archie Goodwin shooting some free throws to send La Familia to was that going to be the Final Four championship? My memory slips me, but so they played. Davis got the nod last time. So is this a game of averages? It's La Familia's turn, or does Davis just own La Familia in their home court?
Well, it's interesting. That game last year was incredibly intense. I was there actually. I was there to watch that game. Was I there? No, I would say actually no. I think maybe. No, I wasn't there for that.
You saw some games there last year, but
I think I had left. No, I had left by then. I left before the regional championship. I did actually leave. I saw the game before that, which was, I believe, when War Ready almost knocked off La Familia 2, came real close. No, but it's pretty crazy because like that game was really intense. There's a lot of storylines here. I mean, there's a rematch of that. Archie Goodwin, longtime Eberlein Drive, which is the Davis sort of name prior to this year. Player for them, good terms. They just want to play with his alumni, so he left on good terms with the leadership of Eberlein, went to La Familia. His incredible run, we'll talk about, like Goodwin's incredible run. The free throw angle, because they chose him to shoot him, right? And that's been an issue.
Yeah, that was the Willie Cauley-Stein ghost injury last year. So we had the little bit of drama on that led to them being able to pick any player on the team. And I don't think many people thought they would pick Goodwin, but they said, hey, what the heck? Let's go for it.
I wonder if that's carried over this year, because that's one small struggle. Goodwin's been incredible. We'll talk about that in a bit, but the free throws have been a bit of an adventure this year. And before we get into the matchup, you mentioned Willie Cauley-Stein. One small fun thing that's been going online is Willie Cauley-Stein had said this was his last run, and he's played so well. Like there's thinking that he might want to try one more time, because he's top 5 or 6 in rebounds. He's top 3 in steals. He's top 3 in blocks. He's rebounded the ball well. He still is an effective player at this level. Like, do you think if La Familia wins, he comes back? You think he's going to maybe think about not hanging it up?
Yeah, I think what you'll see with that is he plays regardless, win or lose. He'll be back. Obviously, I think the retirement, hanging up the professional career, is the right move. It sounds like for him at this time. But yeah, I think he comes back. They'll be back next year, and he'll want to be around the team, I'm sure, in some form of fashion. Maybe takes a little bit of a backseat, but he'll play TBT next year. I have no doubt, especially if he's
I would
hinted
think.
maybe.
I
Yeah.
would think. I mean, it's being in front of your fan base, still playing, where you want to play. That's got to be an incredible moment. I can't imagine he doesn't consider coming back. But that's
Yeah, I
next
mean, he
year.
had
Let's talk a little bit.
Devendorf played for Bayheim this year. Ended up getting hurt, unfortunately. But yeah, if you get a chance to, they were a little short-handed, so they probably did him a little bit of a favor. But yeah, just anytime you get a chance to be in front of your home crowd and support the team, so I think he'll be involved.
Yeah. I think that's a pretty safe bet. Well, we'll see. And that's next year. Let's get to this year. Let's talk a little bit what's happening now. So let's scrub the list a little bit. So first of all, Charge, how we got here. Let's talk a little bit. You probably following the which side did you think you want to talk about first? How they got here from entertainment value? You want to talk
Yeah,
about the
no,
left or the right?
entertainment value. Let's start with the mercenary side. I know you prefer mercenary over
Okay.
non-alumni, but yeah, let's go non-alumni side,
Okay.
and just to tee it off. I mean, this was deep. I mean, when you look at the talent level that was Davis Steele, War Ready, Mecca, Heartfire. I mean, these guys were going to battle, close games. I think it lived up to the billing of, these are mercenary teams. They're some of the best professionals in the world. Playing anywhere outside the NBA, these guys will compete at elite levels, and it was a pleasure to watch, especially with some of these Elam endings that we saw.
Yeah, and I mean, having been there, like again, just to reiterate something we said before, DM Resorts were a first class operation. It was wonderful watching it there. Wonderful venue. I hope TBT considers going back there. It was great. The games were high level. Any of these four teams you see really had a claim to getting there. Red Rose War Ready had a really talented team. Just fell a little short against the Davis juggernaut. Mecca knocked off Heartfire, and actually Mecca might have earned the most respect out of this bracket because they played great defense. They knew who they were. And a part of basketball and winning is knowing what you as a team are about. And the Mecca, formerly mainly the Cheaters brand, with that backcourt of Harrison and Ware. I mean, that was they all served that. Carter was great up front. They may have not won that region, but the level of respect they earned by almost knocking off Davis Steele and making that run. I mean, I really hope they're back, especially. They played with a lot of intensity. And I was not more of the losing teams I saw, they might have impressed me the most.
Yeah. I mean, they had a number of chances to win. Carter, had his way with Watson, a series before and got fouled, and he just missed that kind of little turnaround at the end. Then he came back, got the offensive rebound, and kicked it out, which I'm still shocked about. But yeah, they had 3-4 chances to be playing today for $2 million, and so yeah, it would be great to see some of these kind of teams rematch. And a lot of these teams already said they're going to be back next year. So assuming TBT operates the same as it has been, I think we'll see a lot of interesting matchups again next year. But Davis Steele, like I said, everyone had them as the favorite to win it, and they did not disappoint. They had a couple close ones against Gotham City, and obviously this one against Mecca. But they took care of business. They held serve, and they're playing for $2 million today.
Yeah, definitely. On the other side of the bracket, you got the alumni stuff, and kind of the less talked about the top, the better. I mean, some things you don't see on the page, the teams that were eliminated you don't see, they're really interesting. Obviously, first time run in a while by Hall In. Credible showing. Hopefully they're coming back. Michael Beasley playing in TBT for the first time was everything promised. They didn't get through, but he himself played incredibly. And always the Ville with a really tough first round matchup. They played great. Honestly, if Archie Goodwin doesn't come back and save La Familia, we might be talking about the Ville right now, actually, because they were that good up until that point. Less said about the brawl, the better. Marcus Keene, obviously, MVP last year, the GOAT this year for completely different reasons. Hopefully that resolves well. Very unfortunate. The Shocks, always a great crowd. That was kind of a tough showing. But La Familia with a couple tough ones. Tough against the Ville. Really tough win against Boeheim's Army. I'll say if Boeheim's Army had Ja'Cory Williams or Chris McCullough, I'm assuming we're talking about them today as well. But La Familia was able to get Goodwin back to beat the Ville. They were able to get lucky to face a shorthanded Syracuse, and they kind of cruised against Jayhawks hoops. So La Familia has lived a bit of a charmed life to this point, haven't they?
Yeah, I think they overcame a lot of adversity with that Louisville matchup. I think everyone had him dead in the water. And so even with Goodwin coming back, I mean, for him to come back despite all the drama about all the slander on social media, I mean, for him to come back and, just come in and want to play and support his team and just take care of business, that was amazing. And, that Aftershocks one, I think, is always going to be second guessing, just like Mayheims. We question their personnel. I think without the ejections, Aftershocks wins that game. You left pretty much the entire starting five for Kansas, but lost a guy like QJ Peterson in the Aftershocks matchup on the bench. And that's where they really struggled at the end. They didn't have that extra ball handler, and Hannah was getting after that, so Jayhawks deserved to win based on the situation and what is still win games. But all those games were amazing. Absolutely pleasure to watch.
Yeah, it's been a really competitive tournament. There's been a few wipes, but not many. So kind of talking about how these teams got here to this obviously this championship game today, which will happen now, I believe, in about 50 minutes. So how they got here, and we sort of use blue and red to say good or bad or sort of interesting. And the Davis Steel run beat Gotham in a very close early game. Terrell Brown had two of your Elam Enders in this. So, he's a proven clutch time performer. The Knuppel crew, that game winning by 27 really skews their splits. We'll talk about that when we talk about the team stuff. But that big win does change their point differential in a very big way. But keep in mind, they didn't lose a game, which is worth mentioning. War Ready, they were able to handle fairly convincingly despite their quality. And then the Mecca actually had them on the ropes. That was like 69-64. They had multiple kill shots. They actually had a charmed last game to get here. I mean, they controlled business early on, but the Mecca gave them everything and more they could handle. And they're very lucky that Terrell Brown was able to cash in that pass from York to make that Elam Ender. On the La Familia side, they ate a loss, first of all. It's worth mentioning. In the new format, you can eat a loss. They lost to the Ville convincingly. Like, they were smacked by the Ville in Louisville, which is a little interesting. At the Ville, their one true road game they had to play was a huge loss. But Goodwin comes back for that July 22nd game. Ever since then, been able to win either close or convincingly in the case of Jayhawks hoops. So, Charge, this road, which team do you think might be maybe more battle-tested?
Yeah, I think La Familia definitely the most battle-tested team. They've had some close games, some close margins. They had to kind of rebuild back around Archie Goodwin, and I think with them being at home, that is going to be a huge advantage based on what we said, sellout crowd of 6,000 to 7,000. I think the Davis Steel guys, though, when you say battle-tested, you had the close one against the Mecca, right at the end. So I think that's going to teach them all the lessons they need to know, make the adjustments they need to make, and it'll be a great matchup here.
Yeah, definitely. Should be a lot of fun. So this road was pretty interesting how they got here. Let's get kind of into the teams in general. I bolded the starters, red and blue. The alumni are also bolded, so you can see which ones are alumni. So they had 6 alums. And, of course, the red means something we're a little concerned about. The blue is something that's something pretty good about the stats here. One thing I found interesting, though, is just a small note, how many of Kentucky's players aren't currently playing professionally? Like, there's a good 6 of them that are really sort of like not playing this year professionally. So a lot of people are coming out of semi-retirement to play in TBT, which I find interesting. In fact, 3 of their starters didn't seem to have played last year. I'm not sure if maybe some of this is incorrect because some of this comes from, public sort of things like Real GM. But GNC, Cully Stein hasn't played. DeAndre Liggins hasn't played since 2021. He's not playing big minutes, obviously, but it's one of those sort of things. So it's been a pretty interesting matchup. Charged at the top level line, this comes down a little bit to Goodwin versus York, right?
Yeah, I think that's the headline matchup. Everyone's, looking at it, and me and Hayner go back and forth because either one of these guys is going to be deserving of the MVP, whether it's York or it's Goodwin. I'm going with the true definition of most valuable player, where Goodwin is what's critical to La Familia. Just that really standout person. Davis has a lot of depth, and so this is going to be really interesting battle. I think there's going to be a lot of contributions up and down both of these lineups, but I think everyone's going to be watching Archie Goodwin versus Gabe York and see who comes out on top. And both have been just phenomenal. I mean, shooting the ball, you can see 46% to 51% from three, but both mean so much to their teams, just not even from the talent level, but the leadership and the energy they bring to the squads. And so this is you couldn't ask for a better head-to-head matchup going into the final game.
Yeah, well, you want to go back to the stats, man? We have a guest, and I don't want to bring him on to break up the show a little. So you want to bring on a guest real quick?
Absolutely, let's do it.
Let's come back. We'll come back to this in a minute. So anyway, as you know, TBT is about the fans. There's been a big experiment this year to bring in fans, or to bring in a new venue in Las Vegas. They've gone to Vegas before, but it's been a long time. Now, I had the pleasure of going there for a few days. It was a lot of fun, and definitely if TBT goes back to Vegas, I plan on going back. But we met a few fans there. Actually, we wanted to invite one person to give a fan perspective a bit. So we're going to bring on a gentleman by the name of Sashi Boba, who actually we met at TBT. So let me see. Sashi, how you doing?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Hey, good to have you on, Sashi.
Hey,
so you ready? Yeah, we can hear you
hear
fine,
me?
man. So we can hear you fine, man. We can hear you fine. So hey, are you ready for this final, Sashi?
Oh man, it's I'm super excited. You know, just the build up to this game. You know, following this Davis team in Vegas, there's just been so much. There's been so much energy with this team and chemistry, and it's like, you know, it's going to be really amazing to see if they can finish this thing off.
Yeah, definitely. Now, you this is your first year following TBT, right? You've never really watched it before, correct? If memory serves.
Yeah, I would just come across it on TV, and I'd see some matchups. I knew some of the guys from India Rising, the All Indian team, so it was cool to follow. But this year, being in Vegas, and especially at the M, where it was such a like a small venue where everybody was sitting courtside, you really got to know like these teams and players pretty in depthly. So it's been an experience.
Yeah. So anyway, it's been fun. It was really great meeting you there. But so, what do you think has been your takeaway from watching these games live, like with the level of basketball or the intensity?
It's been pretty surprising to me. I just like as you explained, they throw some of these teams together. These guys have other seasons. They're playing some for other teams, but like just these guys being thrown together, you see, they're playing with everything on the line, and like they're really laying it out there. And there's been some special performances because of that from these guys.
Yeah. Now you were talking too. Is go ahead, Charge. Go ahead. Yeah, please.
Yeah, no. The thing that stuck out, he said, leaving everything on the line. And when he was saying that, my head went to, $1 million is a lot of money, but we're up to $2 million now. So we thought we'd seen some pretty amazing Elam endings in the past, but now with $2 million on the line is just absurd. So I think this is going to be even kicked up a notch or two than what we've seen in the past. And so, Sashi, I know you said you're a casual fan, got to see it closer this year. What do you think about the Elam ending as in regards to having a spot in basketball? Do you like the Elam ending? Wish it was kind of old school clock time? Any opinions on that?
I think it's a game changer. I mean, these games, watching this stuff sitting basically courtside. I mean, what Davis did against Mecca. I mean, they were done. They were down. It was the Elam ending, and it causes some different wrinkles in the ending of the game. I think I was talking to one of the assistants on Davis. He says, like the missed free throws, the wide open missed jumper. It's like there's an added extra pressure. You could feel this other team coming back, and they're going to have to make some baskets to finish the game off. And it's been super exciting. I hope that this rule is put into place for other, the NBA or maybe some other kind of leagues, like WNBA. This would be phenomenal to see spread.
Yeah, I think Nick Elam will love hearing that. Actually, saying one more convert to that, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, Sashi, any final thoughts? We're going to get on with the show, but thanks for coming on. Any final thoughts about your experience at TBT as a fan?
No, it's been amazing. I mean, just seeing all the players and teams are hanging around the M, and it's such a small venue. It's been an incredible experience from a fan's perspective, and yeah, I hope they continue to do it in Vegas. I've really enjoyed it.
Definitely. Sashi, we'll talk about the other thing we're talking about off camera sometime. I definitely want to hear your thoughts on the experiment you want to have next year. Sashi Baba, thank you so much for coming on, man.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Have a good one,
See you,
Sashi.
man. Bye. Yeah, I figured it'd be nice to have him on. Really nice guy. Nice to see the fans getting more involved. The Vegas atmosphere was incredible. You were sitting literally right on the floor. You could see my thinning hair bald spot in the back of my head.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it looked pretty
TV.
cool. Yeah, it looked cool.
Yeah.
It was up close, and and so obviously this is the first time I was meeting Sashi because I wasn't in Las Vegas, and I didn't know if it was going to be a loaded question or not. But the Elam ending, you still get some traditionalists that are really hardcore against it, but I think the TBT crowd and especially these games this year has continued to further solidify why the Elam ending is the most exciting ending in basketball. You would not have these endings that we've seen. I mean, round after round, game after game without the Elam ending in place. So it's cool to see, and someone who's getting kind of ramped up on TBT, loving the Elam ending as well.
Definitely. I mean, we were making converts as we were meeting people in Vegas, like trying very desperately to grow the event. And it was funny talking to people. We were having a couple drinks after one of the games, and just a great atmosphere at the M. And hopefully Vegas comes back. If they go back to Vegas, Charge, you gotta join me out there. It was a lot of fun. I mean, like, it was very chill. We'll go to some nice restaurant or something. I bet you're a foodie, right? You want to go to?
Yeah, well, this year was a little goofy though. I would love to go to Vegas. There were some question marks about availability and access out there. So at the time when I had to think about it, but
I don't think it's going to be a problem because, like, when I was there, it's like I don't think we even need press. We know all these teams anyway, but that's besides the point. Let's get back to the matter at hand. Okay, so the red and blue again. So one thing that's interesting is we were taking out so many stats. Terrell Brown's played really well. He hasn't shot the ball well, but if you'll notice, he's also got almost a 5-to-1 assist, or a 4-to-1 assist to turnover ratio, 3-0.8. Rebounding the ball well, doing everything but shoot well, and he has 2 Elam enders. So, like, a guy like that, a guy like Terrell Brown coming off the bench who played in the G League, who played in Summer League, not shooting the ball terribly well, but making it when it counts, just talks a little bit about the depth of Eberlein Drive, correct? Like, they're just a deeper team.
Yeah, no, they're so deep, it's crazy. And did you say Terrell Brown had 2 Elam ending winners? Because he's 2 for 7 from 3-point range on the year, and so it just shows the confidence that once again that Davis Steele has in their team. So here's a guy who, outside the Elam ending is 0 for 5, and you're comfortable putting him in the game and, letting him put up that big shot. So it's, we'll talk about it a little bit more, but Davis Steele's 3-point percentage this year is number 1. But they got
That's nuts.
5 guys over 40% shooting from 3. And then they got 4 that are over 50%, which is just crazy. And that's still not counting guys like Cam McGriff and Terrell Brown, who's a better shooter than his percent this year. So this
very much
about
so.
7 deep on guys who can just knock it down. And so I think that's going to be one of the keys for the game. And I'll wait till the next slide before we look at one other data point. But they're going to be a team to watch. I think it's going to be high scoring and run it up.
Well, also, Reese is crazy because, like, Reese hasn't even gotten unlocked yet. He's not really scoring much. He's had a bit of a tough tournament. This is after he scored 20 a game for West Virginia last year. So, I mean, like, having a guy who's struggling a bit but still can obviously fill it up as, like, your 5th guard? I mean, he was a star for West Virginia last year. He's your 5th guard? Like, what are we doing here? Like, it's incredible depth of roster. Now, looking at La Familia, opposite problem. Big dog Archie Goodwin. I mean, besides his free throws and his straight even assist to turnover ratio, he's been dominant. I mean, he's been ball dominant. He's been scoring dominant. His 3-point percentage is almost as good as his free throw percentage, which is a very strange place to be in life. He played the entirety. He went the whole way, it looks like. He played 40 minutes of our last game. These aren't average minutes. These are only the last game because the average is a little wonky on the site. But he's shooting 9.3 threes a game. I mean, he's lofting almost 10 a game. His usage rate's got to be like 40%. The reason he's got so many turnovers is he has such an immense burden. And it makes you wonder who is going to be that secondary scorer. Like, Marcel's shown up a bit, but, like, Harrison's shooting 31%. You're playing Willie Cauley-Stein 33 minutes a night at his age, which is a little tougher. Is the problem for La Familia not the high-end talent, but the depth? Who's going to become that reliable scorer? Does Coffey become that person? Does McNeil become that person? Who's going to show up and be that second and third option? I'm thinking Coffey really needs a breakout game here.
Yeah, I think Coffey. I think everyone's going to look at him almost more on the defensive side to see how he can lock down someone on Davis. But yeah, I think Morcell, Maynard Bell. Basically, they're holding on alumni squad once you get kind of past Harrison and Goodwin and Willie Cauley-Stein are the folks that we'll be watching for. McNeil's minutes gone down a little bit, but he can come in and knock it down. But that non-alumni team. Portion of that team is they're going to need someone to kind of step up and get really hot. Look for that heavy load from Coffey and more so for sure.
And we'll break down the MVP race a little bit later in the show, but we do have to mention that part of the reason that Gabe York and we've been discussing Gabe York versus Goodwin now for about a week. But I will say this, we both agree they're pretty close, but York does benefit from having a little more help. Like Clemens is a killer, Taylor's a killer. Their entire roster's deeper. So it's fair to say Gabe York has more help than Archie Goodwin, correct?
Yeah. And so I'll wait till the slide on it because I can go on a rant here about Archie Goodwin and why he's going to be possibly the next MVP, but we'll save it for that slide.
We'll talk. Okay, so this is sort of a breakdown of a team trend thing, and our graphic is blocking versus Eberlein drive. Our graphics team needs to get better here. But it's interesting because a few of these are skewed. Now, in a short season of a 4 or 5 game season, which has been, some of these PERs do get skewed. For example, one thing I want to tag is that point differential of 12 for Davis is highly skewed by that Kneppel Crew game. I mean, extremely skewed. That does mean that that does push up their average a bit. But the rest of these are pretty true to form. Obviously, the points per game, the Davis Steel guys are running and gunning. They're second in the league, whereas La Familia is right in the middle of the pack. The point differential given up is almost the same. What's really interesting, too, is the field goal percentage is pretty good for both teams. But that three-point percentage, Davis is lofting almost 30 a game. 30 a game almost, 28.5 in a 36-minute game. And they're doing it at a 43% clip. How is La Familia's got to really work to contain the perimeter scoring, correct? That's something they really have to do.
Yeah, that sounds like some fancy basketball talk there. They need to stop them. And that's the number that sticks on the page to me when I was kind of reviewing the stats that Hanner was so nice enough to put together. But you've got 43% field goal percentage for Davis Steel, second in field goal percentage. But if you look down there at the bottom right, that's where they are excelling right now. So Familia 25.2% from three, number one, and number three in opponent field goal percentage. And take the X's and O's out of it. I just like entertaining games, but whatever they're doing, they need to do more of that and really try to counter that strong Davis attack.
I was shocked to see that La Familia is minus on the boards. That surprised me, actually. I thought that'd be a little more. I mean, you got Coffey, you got Willie Cauley-Stein, you've got some decent size. That kind of floored me. But they are playing 4 guards. They're usually starting off with 3 or 4 guards. They're not big except for Stein up front. But yeah, the defense is, you're right. That calling card, that bottom right is very telling because they're getting after it. And even when you see that many fouls, 17.4 is a decent number. It's in the bottom half of the league. So they're clearly not scared of physical defense. They're clearly not scared of going after it. So this really becomes almost the artistic vision, the pretty team that is Davis with the shooting and the passing, the incredible assist-to-turnover ratio, which is almost 2-to-1, versus some team that's willing to muck it up, has physical play, has a do-everything defensive center, Willie Cauley-Stein. I mean, they're really in their physical in the perimeter with Goodwin, who's a big, big lad. I mean, you can see that this is really going to be like a contrast of styles between the poetry of Davis Steel and the blunt force of La Familia, which I think is a fair assessment. Would you agree, Charge?
Yep, no, I think you hit it on the head with that.
So what do you think? It's going to be one of those the fights made by the style, right? So really it's a question of who controls pace is going to win this game. It's not a question of the talent or who's really better. It's who controls how this game is played. It's probably going to decide who wins, correct?
Yeah, no, I agree there, and so and I think on the defensive side, that he can control a little bit more. But if Davis can stay hot and just get these shots to fall like they have in the kind of first few rounds, they're a tough beat. So I can't wait to watch it. It's going to be exciting action.
What's really crazy the whole thing too is the fact that like when you look at this, the score. The other thing too is like part of the reason Davis shoots so well. So many people can shoot. Clemens, York, Brown, all the DJ Rodman. So when you have that many perimeter shooters, you can really spread 5 out and really create a problem. Now Goodwin can stop one of them. You're gonna have Willie Constein switching, so he is still very able to switch on the perimeter even at his age and his size. But at the same time, it's like trying to cover a dam that has holes in it. You're using these fingers. There's one more putting out. So really the question becomes is can they throw enough bodies defensively at all the shooting that Davis Steele has? The other question is can Davis Steele just keep it from getting too physical and keep it from getting up and down? They want to play a controlled style. They don't want to make this into a physical match.
Yeah, and Davis is gritty, though. So, I mean, that's the thing, though, is, I think La Familia has, kind of got a lot of strength and will be physical. But Davis Steele is gritty. These guys, play with a chip on their shoulder and, kind of hard-nosed mentality. So, I mean, as you start to keep looking at the scales, this game here, it's going to be shocking if it does not come down to next basket wins Ivan Mender. I would be shocked.
It's going to be real close. It's going to be real close. Like this way, whatever you get if you're betting this game, if you can get it your team opposite a certain number of points, you're probably fine. Because I think if the spread's what I think it'll be, I think either team would probably cover if you bet it right. So this is going to be a pretty tight game. Okay, so Charge, this is the question of the day besides who's going to win. We'll talk about that in a minute. But here's your MVP race. We just tagged these 2 players. Now, obviously, there's some other worthy players. The backcourt for Mecca was incredible. A lot of respect to Zeke Mayo. A lot of respect to some other players in this tournament. But this is really, I think, where the MVP race is going to come down. Now, I think we differ a bit on this. I think we both think this is the 2 players. Why don't you take the argument for one? I'll take the argument for the other. You can start. I know.
Yeah, no, I'll start with Archie Goodwin argument. I think no matter what, win or lose, as long as Archie Goodwin doesn't, show up and have 5 points, and so let's assume he has like 15 points, close game. Gabe York goes for 20, whatever. It doesn't matter. But I just think Archie Goodwin, by a landslide, just stood out for his team. They were on death's door. They were dead in the water. I didn't even know if they would show up for the last game in Kentucky. I mean, they got demoralized by Louisville. It was a beatdown. And, I think they were on a bad path. The trajectory, the path was right down as low as you can get it. They hit rock bottom. Then Archie Goodwin shows up and absolutely turned this team around. So he's only played 3 games. He's 2 of the 3 games. He was top 5 in all of TBT in scoring. Had a 30-point game, like a 26-point game. The one that isn't in the top 5 was a 22-point game. So he is leading the TBT in scoring, though, at over 26 points a game, but contributing on the rebound side defensively with 2.3 steals, the assist. But it really stands out that he was the most valuable player for that team, the most critical player for their team's success, advancing to the finals. I'm going to say it doesn't hurt to be an alumni player either. So if you're going to flip a coin on an MVP, you can pick Gabe York, and it would be a great choice. But you can pick an alumni with a great fan base who's hooting and hollering for their team. You can pick Archie Goodwin in a loss and still feel pretty good about that decision, as long as he doesn't fall flat today. And so you're going to tell me a little bit about Gabe York's efficiency, I'm sure.
Well, I am, and also, by the way, you made the argument very well, Charge. And honestly, it's a hard one to counteract. I think you're right on a lot of those points. Let me grant some points before I get into York. Goodwin, the alumni thing is true. They want to definitely hype up alumni. It's good business. Archie Goodwin is leading in scoring. That's hard to deny. He is benefiting in some respects from being a one-man band. He's getting almost unlimited usage. So letting him kind of spread it in 1-4, kind of do what he wants. But the most valuable thing, the definition thereof is most valuable, not best, not most. Like in college, it's the most outstanding player, which is a different thing. Most valuable does mean most valuable team, and Goodwin being the one that kept them from dying is a pretty compelling argument. So I'm going to grant a lot of your arguments. So we're just going to make the counter argument about York. Here's the counter arguments. One is, I think because it's close enough, I don't think you give it to a losing player. Otherwise, if it were a little further apart, I think Goodwin and lost would probably still get it. I agree with that. But I think because this is close enough, I wouldn't give him a loss. And I do want to talk about efficiency, though, because as good as Goodwin's been, his assist turnover is 1-to-1. Again, that's because he is facing a heavy burden. I'll defend him for that. He is facing an incredible burden to create for himself and others, same as York. but his team is not giving him the same number of shooting percentage out of it. They're not cashing as many of the dimes he's putting on them. He's facing a heavier burden, but that does make him less efficient. Gabe York is 5-1 assist to turnover. That's incredibly efficient. Plus, on the defensive side, he's also stealing the ball, and he's shooting in incredible splits. I mean, he's getting his almost 20 points a game on insane efficiency. I mean, the man is just pouring it in from all three levels of the court with insane efficiency, taking difficult shots, making them, taking easy shots, making his teammates better. The counter argument for me for Gabe York, the ones against him, would be one, he does have more help. He's got Clemens, who's an all TBT level backcourt partner. He's got DJ Rodman. He's got Terrell Brown to help him have some of that burden. He has a more complete team around him, thereby not facing the same level of gravity Goodwin is. But I still think it's close enough where I think the winning team will get the MVP. Not that I think Goodwin probably hasn't been more valuable. I do think that in a vacuum he probably is, but I don't see it going to a losing team. So I think if Davis wins, I think Gabe York gets MVP. I think if La Familia wins, I think it's obviously Archie Goodwin. And that would be my take on the whole thing.
Yeah, that's the easy answer, but yeah, we're gonna shake it up. TBT's never been about the easy answer. We're gonna get a little wild and select.
Wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me if Goodwin does win. Your case is very compelling, and he has been. I mean, you can't say enough about how he's just come out, basically rescued La Familia. So you can't just say enough about that. Okay, Charge. That's sort of the sort of nitty gritty. Some final thoughts before we get ready for the game to watch it for ourselves. Like, first of all, who do you think is going to win?
Yeah, I think it's going to be Davis. And I almost don't say that disappointingly. I just want a really good game. I think the Davis depth is going to be the difference maker. Not that anyone ever deserves to win a game. You got to let the players win it on the court. But, guys like Matt and Jake, they're just good people. And if anyone's paid their dues to the TBT game, it's those two guys. And so I'm looking for a dogfight, but I think Davis just has the depth. And if anything, they got some good karma built up through the TBT years where it just feels like it is their year. So I'm gonna go with Davis.
I also am going with Davis. I think it's going to be a razor thin game. I think the keys to this game will be obviously again, pace dictates the fight. If they can make this into an actual physical war, La Familia wins, I think, pretty easily. I think Davis is gritty, but I think they're less physical. I think they're more mentally gritty. So if La Familia can turn this into a fist fight, I think they win pretty easily. If they can't turn this into a fist fight, I think it actually could get out of hand. I think Davis could. If this gets into a shooting match, it's going to be it won't be a close game. Now, if they can keep it sort of even, this will be an incredibly close game, which is what I think will happen. So I think pace and shooting will dictate who wins this game. I also have Davis. I think it's Davis Eberlein's Final Four, their third straight. It is their third championship game, their second straight. They have came tantalizingly close as a leadership and as a crew for multiple years now. They really just kind of need to win this. It's time. I think the basketball gods, who are notably fickle, I think will reward them finally. And that all goes out the window if 7,000 people scream bloody murder and rattle somebody. Because the Alumni having the home court at the end is an unspeakable advantage. And Kentucky fans are insane. So that's the one thing is like, can Davis play their first true road game of this run? Because Vegas was neutral. They're playing their first true road game with all the money on the table. Is it weird that their first road game is the championship? Does that make it sort of like this cold water splash? Like the end, hey, by the way, here's your boss level, and you're on the road for the first time in the tournament.
Yeah,
that's
sort of like a cold water splash? Yeah, they really haven't had prepare for that this year. They've obviously prepared for that in prior years, going out to Wichita, a lot of the same crew, and so I don't think it's going to be foreign to them, and they're all professionals. But it is a difference maker, and the players will admit that when you go into a crowd of 7,000, where out of that 7,000, 6,900 are rooting for Kentucky, and
conservatively.
That small town Davis Steel contingency shows up, and I know Matt and Jake's crew travel well, so you may have 150 Eberlein / Davis fans in there. But it's a different world, different environment. But they're ready for it. It's just going to lead to a great matchup, and I think at the end of the day, I think both teams walk away with their heads held high. Unfortunately, one can walk away with $2 million to split up amongst the teams, but I think both have had fantastic runs and done nothing but represent their teams and TBT well this year.
Yeah, it's actually been fun. I was kind of against the format. This is
Yeah,
actually
we were
worked out
both a little
way better
down
than I
on
thought.
TBT. Yeah,
Yeah.
preseason, full disclosure, man, Hayner's like, yeah, this kind of sucks. I don't know if I'm really going to get into it this year. But then, of course, we're, hardcores. And as things started to develop, as things started to come around, we're like, hey, this is great. I love it. And the format's been fantastic, which we can save some of that for the postseason show. So we'll have one more show left to do, and we'll dive into some of that. But it's been a great year. And like I said, we're 20 minutes away from tip-off.
Yeah, and let's go ahead and just do the list then. So Char just mentioned we will be doing one more show this season. We will be doing a recap show with our all TBT teams, which may differ from TBT. We'll also talk a little bit about what we think might happen next year, recap the year in totality. I think, Charge, we should actually go ahead and use our final show to give Dan, John, and the crew at TBT our ideas and sort of force feed them some thoughts. I think that's what we need to do this year. Yeah, and also talk a little bit about the St. John's team that wants to get together.
Oh yeah, they're going to be good. That's already a lock in. They're done.
That's going to be fun.
TBT 2027.
That's going to be fun. Okay, so let's talk about today though. So today, big matchup. We both have Davis. Should be a fun game, and I think we should let people go. Stop watching us, get their chips and dip ready for the game, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
That's all we're going to do. Just get ready, get on the recliner, and enjoy the game.
Okay, TBT. It's Championship Sunday. Someone's winning $2 million in 2 hours and 18 minutes. Thanks for joining us. It's been Charge and Hayner with the live pregame show of TBT's $2 million championship. We'll see you in a few days to rock up the rest of the tournament. And as always, thanks to my partner Charge. And you guys enjoy your day. And let's go watch that $2 million game. See you soon.
Hope you enjoyed listening to Zoom the TBT with Charge and Hayner. Subscribe to YouTube, follow on Twitter, and give us your money.